Contemporary practice, found materials, found objects. This is my sketchbook of the journey that I went through for this assignment. The assignment started off with some in-depth research into other practitioners that use found and recycled materials. This part of the assignment I really enjoyed because there was an array and a variety, and as part of my own personal learning process I could educate myself with how other practitioners make their own textile practice in application with this theme. Then, making lots of my own notes and using Pinterest, Instagram and other forms of research, I started to build up an accumulative research of my own knowledge, and just looking at the arrays and variations of applications of how we could use recycled found materials in our textile practice. I think the sketchbooks are important because they seem to naturally go through a process of their own, and you see your own development and journey. One particular area in my research that I did pick up on was how recycled materials are used in making little robots and faces and features, and I made this as an application within my own assignment. I did a series of photographs with my samples called Found Faces. This was quite successful. Now, I started off with accumulating lots of found materials from mundane sources, went up into the loft, went into the shed, and then directed these ideas into a specific area. And one of my hobbies is to go walking. So during walking sessions through COVID, this enabled me to pick up and start collecting an array of found materials to start to get a feeling of what the variety and variations are in found materials. You can see I did lots of abstract drawings and started to collage ideas and play around with some paper samples and so forth. These developed onto smaller areas of found a pencil, took off the shavings to see whether I could possibly use that as an idea. And as we can see, process and progression of looking into materials is never ending. I even looked at the idea of an eggshell, how this could be used as a found material. Through here, I took my ideas back to basics and found some medical fabric and polytunnel material, and I just simply did some arm knitting just to utilise and turn the found material into a fabric. As the thought process and ideas started to develop, I dissected the vacuum bag, and almost like a felt-like material came from the internal structure. Not a particularly pleasant experiment, but it was something that I thought, demonstrate. And then through here, we've started to now apply with the collection of materials that I'd gone through and started to put samples together. And as we can see, I've made a combination of drawings and so forth with my materials. There's an array of materials: plastics, metals, wires, anything as a found material taught me that you can turn any found object or material into a textile sample. string crocheted, attached to the top of a shower curtain that was deconstructed. Tiles woven with wire, and looked at the structure of the drawings, which made repeat patterns. I feel that it's very, very important to document samples, and I do use a lot of photograph work. And I think one of my downfalls is I could do with actually drawing visual research a little bit more. But these were quite time consuming, some of the samples. Moving on, I narrowed down the subject to roadside walking and canal side walking, just to give me more of a direction. This started to change and develop the samples. As we can see here, wire was found on a road walk or canal walk, and tin can lids, anything really that was discovered. I did a 3-day walk and collected the materials, which was quite a time consuming process. Then as I started to develop and construct the samples, they started to move into the realm of movement. So here I put the samples to a small frame and attached them, and made a series of videos of movement and sound, and I took the samples back to their original source by where I recorded the movement of the samples over the canal lock, where water was the sound and the sample moved. Then through here I've just replicated some rubbings that I discovered from the materials to make mark making. For my found materials, I did a lot of video evidence of my samples for this assignment, and I've seriously considered that video is the way forward to demonstrate my textile practice.